Wednesday night, the castaways of Survivor, David vs. Goliath, saw a second player leave the game prematurely due to injury before dropping their buffs and being sorted into 3 all-new tribes. In the random draw, former Goliaths maintained their supposed dominance by locking into a 3-2 majority on all 3 tribes. Shockingly, however, Alec Merlino gave power to the former Davids of the Vuku tribe when he flipped on Natalia Ezuka, voting her out and making room for exiled Carl Boudreaux to assume her spot and give the Davids the 3-2 majority at that camp. How will Alec's bold stupid move shake up the game going forward? It's all a matter of how the Goliaths on the other tribes react to the news that one of their own flipped and whether that encourages them to do the same in their own new tribes. Below I take a closer look at Alec's boneheaded move and how he and the other 14 castaways stack up post-tribe swap. See Survivor, Medivacs, see all 15 medical evacuations through the years, from Michael Scuppin to Pat Cusick. Agree or disagree with my power rankings? Comment with your own below and be sure to sound off about what I'm wrong about. 1. Christian Hubicki, Tiva. David. 2. Nick Wilson, Jabeni. David. On paper it must seem odd that I'm ranking Christian and Nick, 2 former Davids swapped onto tribes where they're now in the minority, as the current most likely winners, but hear me out. If you're a winner's edit truther like I am, then you'd understand that these 2 guys are getting incredibly positive edits already. Both get a ton of screen time in every episode, including narrative confessionals, even when they aren't in the center of a particular episode's storyline. Take this week for example. Editors took time to show both of them develop immediate social bonds with their new tribe mates. In Christian's case, he's now working closely with Dan and John, who find his quirkiness endearing and non-threatening, and in Nick's case, he's already making inroads with Mike. They're calling themselves the rock stars. We can expect these budding alliances to play out deeper into the game, most likely to the advantage of Christian and Nick, who, I'll remind you, have a final 2 alliance with each other. The Mason-Dixon alliance. 3. Mike White, Jabeni, Goliath. 4. John Hennigan, Tiva. Goliath. Mike and John are also getting pretty decent edits so far, and now that they're working with Nick and Christian, we can expect them to go deep in the game as well. What worries me about them is that overall, the Goliaths seem like a more volatile group as a whole. They've now voted 2 members out of the game because of paranoia, whereas the Davids have shown themselves to be a tight group determined to remain positive and support each other. In terms of the end game, Davids are looking much stronger because of their solid foundation. When Nick and Christian come back together at the merge, Mike and John could be in trouble. For now, they're sitting pretty. See Bynwin, Survivor 37, exit interview. Looking back, I don't regret quitting over my sprained MCL. Podcast. 5. Davey Rickenbacker, Vuku, David. 6. Dan Rengering, Tiva. Goliath. So far we've seen 2 hidden immunity idols found belonging to Davey, who found his at the original David camp, and Dan, who found his at the original Goliath camp. The idols give both players a significant amount of power, but Davey's quite a bit more powerful because no one but him knows about it. Unlike Dan, whose idol is pretty much common knowledge now across the entire cast, Davey managed to keep his own secret even when his back was against the wall with Elizabeth. This week, secrecy will allow Davey to consolidate the power of blindsiding his opposition in the moment he plays it, a situation that could potentially flip him from being on the bottom of the game to the top. Furthermore, Davey now finds himself in control of a David-controlled Vuku tribe, so it'd be a surprise to not see him make merge at this point. 7. Elizabeth Olsen, Vuku, David. 8. Carl Boudreaux, Vuku, David. Due only to Alex flip at their tribal, Elizabeth and Carl are now in the majority on their tribe of 5, and so they should be safe for at least 2 votes. As I already said, the Davids seem to be the more loyal group, so I'd be shocked to see them squander their status by voting with Alec and Kara to take out one of their own. Elizabeth gets the edge over Carl here because she's had a more positive edit thus far, despite Carl earning because all he did was sift through some floating coconuts, an advantage one I don't find that powerful, to be honest. It takes a lot of guessing in order for it to actually work during his time in exile. 9. Angelina Keeley, Jabeni, Goliath. 10. Allison Raybould, Tiva, Goliath 11. Larissa Torres, Jabeni, David 12. Gabby Pascuzzi, Tiva, David 13. Natalie Cole, Jabeni, Goliath. Aside from perhaps Natalie, this entire block of women is mostly irrelevant in terms of power so far. Natalie is at the bottom because of her abrasive personality, putting her only a smidge below Gabby, whose insecurity is already getting the best of her, though I will admit she was the ace of Tiva's immunity challenge win this week. Larissa is easy pickings. As soon as Jabeni loses an immunity challenge, while both Angelina and Allison should be safe in the majority on their respective tribes. 14. Alec Merlino, Fiuku, Goliath 15. Kara K. Fiuku, Goliath. Look, I can't stress enough how big of a mistake Alec made this week in allowing the former Davids to gain the majority vote on their tribe. What makes it even worse is that before he did it, he even told Elizabeth how bad such a move would make him look to the former Goliaths on other tribes. Sadly for Kara, Alec's move is bound to hurt her first, because if they lose another immunity, I imagine the Davids will save Alec both for strengthened in a sense of solidarity. Thanks for voting out Natalia. Furthermore, if he makes the merge, they can potentially use him on their side if the Goliaths do in fact shun him completely. Honestly though, I don't think Alec will make it to the merge. Be sure to make your predictions to influence our reality TV racetrack odds. You can keep changing your predictions until just before the next live episode airs on CBS. You'll compete to win a spot on our leaderboard and eternal bragging rights. See our contest rules and sound off with other fans in our reality TV forum. Read more Gold Derby entertainment news